Hey everyone! Before we dive in, let me give you a sneak peek of what's coming. You're about to discover the 5 most powerful lessons from the 48 laws of power, but not just the theory. We'll unpack the real-life story of Alex, who learned these lessons the hard way, with jaw-dropping twists at every turn. First, we meet Alex at their breaking point, their world flipped upside down after a shocking betrayal. Then, watch as Alex learns the brutal truth: sometimes, you have to never outshine the master, or risk a total fall from grace. But that's just the beginning. Alex dives into the shadows, mastering the art of concealing intentions while navigating a treacherous game of spies and secret alliances. They know they must court attention at all costs, even when enemies threaten to destroy their reputation overnight. As Alex disappears from the public eye, a mysterious mentor reemerges, complicating everything because power isn't just about winning, it's about survival. You'll see how Alex discovers the secret vulnerabilities of friends and foes alike, flipping enemies into allies until a devastating betrayal from within threatens to ruin it all. And just when you think Alex's world can't get any darker, they stage a stunning public redemption, only for it to explode in flames in the most heartbreaking way. By the end, Alex faces the ultimate reckoning, the harsh cost of power, and the revelation that surviving the game may be more important than winning it. Finally, witness the climactic final play that brings the rival CEO down spectacularly, but leaves Alex victorious and utterly alone. And just when the story seems over, a new player steps in, and the cycle begins anew. If you want to learn these lessons and see exactly how to use them in your own life without losing yourself, stay tuned. The game of power is about to begin. 1. The Awakening Expanded Version. Alex Carter had always been the type to stay late, take on extra work, and still get passed over for the promotion. A quiet storm of ambition in a world that rewarded louder, blunter players. For years, they sat in the same cubicle, under flickering fluorescent lights, watching others climb while they stayed tethered to the bottom rung. The only person who ever seemed to believe in Alex was Mr. Caldwell, a retired executive turned enigmatic mentor who vanished without warning 6 months prior. No goodbyes. No retirement party. Just, gone. When facilities finally cleared out Caldwell's dusty corner office, they offered Alex the chance to grab anything they wanted before the rest was trashed. Nostalgia pulled them in. The room smelled like old leather, coffee, and secrets. Sunlight filtered through Venetian blinds, casting sharp lines across a bookshelf untouched by time. Papers were scattered across a desk like the remnants of a battlefield. But it was the black, cloth-bound book tucked behind a stack of framed photos that caught Alex's eye. The gold-embossed title was barely legible under years of dust: The 48 Laws of Power. Tucked inside the front cover was a single yellowed note, handwritten in Caldwell's precise script: "This isn't just a book. It's a warning and a weapon. Learn to use it, or it will use you." Alex stood frozen. Goosebumps prickled their skin. They should have closed the book and walked away, but something in the note, something personal, made their fingers tighten around it. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was desperation. Or maybe, deep down, it was the beginning of something darker stirring to life. As Alex slipped the book into their bag and walked out of the office for the last time, they didn't realize it yet, but a door had been opened. And on the other side was a world where power wasn't earned. It was taken. 2. Law 1, Never Outshine the Master Expanded Version. With the book now secretly tucked into their satchel and a fresh sense of purpose simmering beneath the surface, Alex began to apply its first lesson, though not with the caution it demanded. Never outshine the master. Simple enough, Alex had thought. but in practice it was a lesson they would only learn through pain. Back at Titan Strategies, a gleaming tower of ambition wrapped in glass, Alex threw themselves into the next big client pitch. Their ideas were bold, revolutionary even. Where others saw limits, Alex saw patterns, solutions, leverage points. During brainstorming sessions, even the executive team leaned in when Alex spoke. Some laughed a little too loud at their jokes. Even the CEO, Donovan Rourke, a charismatic titan with an ego as polished as his Rolex, began to take notice. That's when the shift started. Rourke began inviting Alex to meetings others weren't included in. He gave them subtle nods of approval, asked for their opinion during high-stakes calls. At first, Alex thought they were finally being seen for what they were, the smartest strategist in the room. But power, as the book would later warn in underlined margins, is not earned with brilliance, it's taken at someone else's expense. And Alex didn't realize they had made Donovan Rourke feel small in his own empire. The tipping point came during the quarterly summit. Alex presented a radical new approach to client acquisition that stunned the board into silence, followed by roaring approval. Investors clapped. Executives smiled. Rourke's face, however, barely moved. Just a tight-lipped smile and a golf clap. Something cold flickered behind his eyes. By Monday, the shift was complete. Alex's access was quietly revoked. Meetings they were scheduled to lead were reassigned. Projects were pulled. HR requested an impromptu performance review. Then came the email: due to internal restructuring, your role will be transitioning to an advisory capacity effective immediately. Advisory. A polite way of saying exile. Alex stared at the screen in disbelief. The silence of the office pressed in like a vacuum. Just days ago, they'd been hailed as a visionary. Now they were being erased surgically and without scandal. And Donovan Rourke, he passed by Alex's desk that afternoon, offered a disarming smile, and said softly, "You shine a little too brightly sometimes, Alex. Careful with that." That night, alone in their apartment, Alex opened the book again. This time, they read with reverence and vengeance. 3. The Fall, and the Resolve expanded version. The elevator ride down felt longer than it ever had before. No applause. No farewell speech. Just a cardboard box filled with 2 picture frames, a few pens, and a book no one else knew was dangerous. Alex's departure from Titan Strategies wasn't loud or dramatic, it was surgical. Quiet. Clinical. Just the way Donovan Rourke wanted it. There was no severance, no glowing letter of recommendation. Just an advisory role that meant nothing and a desk that now belonged to someone louder, safer, duller. They spent the first few days in a kind of fog. The adrenaline was gone. The ambition felt toxic now, like an infection. Friends stopped calling, unsure of what to say. And the ones who still worked at Titan silent. Afraid to associate. Even the coffee shop barista stopped asking, "How's work going?" because Alex's answer never changed: "Fine." But the truth was far from fine. Nights stretched long and bitter. Alex lay awake staring at the ceiling, looping the same questions. What did I do wrong? Was I too confident, too clever? Did I forget to smile at the right moment? Every memory replayed like a courtroom drama with Alex on trial and no defense lawyer in sight. One night, unable to sleep, Alex pulled the 48 Laws of Power from the shelf and dropped it onto the kitchen table like a judge slamming a gavel. The note from Mr. Caldwell was still inside, now worn soft at the edges. "This isn't just a book. It's a warning and a weapon." Alex stared at those words, the ink slightly smudged from the night they first read it. It had felt cryptic then. Now it felt like prophecy. Page after page, they read not just for insight, but for survival. Each law no longer felt like theory, it felt like a map, scrawled by those who survived empires and executions, betrayals, and boardrooms. The margins were littered with Caldwell's scribbles, sarcastic, sharp, but always precise. Somewhere around Law 3, Alex stopped reading like a victim. They began reading like a student. By dawn, a new thought had taken root, quiet but firm: if I lost playing fair, maybe it's time I learn the real rules. Alex didn't want revenge. Not yet. What they wanted was clarity. Strategy. Power, not the flashy kind Donovan wielded, but the silent kind, the kind that makes people lean in without knowing why. The kind that changes rooms just by entering them. This wasn't a comeback. Not yet. This was the recalibration of a weapon. For Law 3, Conceal Your Intentions expanded version. 6 months later, no one recognized Alex Carter, not because they looked different, but because they moved differently. The bitterness had calcified into something sharper: focus. Gone were the desperate attempts to be noticed. Now, Alex let people underestimate them. They wore quieter clothes, spoke softer, smiled more. And all of it was intentional. When news broke that Titan's biggest competitor Valen and Gray was onboarding a new strategy consultant, no one at Titan paid it much attention. After all, Valen was the underdog, a boutique firm for risk-takers and renegades. It wasn't until the quarterly market share shift that people started whispering, Valen was rising. Fast. Too fast. And the brain behind the acceleration, a consultant who never appeared in press releases. No LinkedIn updates. No photos. Just a name whispered in meetings like a myth. Alex Carter. Alex had positioned themselves as a humble outsider, a helper, nothing more. Their insights were always offered with just the right amount of uncertainty to seem non-threatening. But behind closed doors, Alex was mapping every executive's power structure, alliances, weaknesses, and patterns. They never once spoke of Donovan Rourke. But every move was aimed at him. Still, Alex knew that a successful plan meant being invisible inside of it. So they kept their brilliance masked in humility, their boldness dressed in just a thought. No one saw the puppet strings yet. Except one. A young assistant named Marina had taken an unusual interest in Alex. She was charming, funny, a little too curious. She asked a lot of questions about Alex's past, where they'd worked before, who they knew at Titan. Alex played dumb, feigning awkwardness about the topic. But Marina never quite stopped prying. Then one night, while reviewing internal documents at home, Alex's security software flagged an unusual login attempt. It originated from Marina's IP. For the first time since their return, Alex felt something rare: vulnerability. Marina wasn't just curious. She was watching. Reporting. Someone inside Titan, or worse, someone closer, knew Alex was making moves. The next day, Alex greeted Marina with the same warm smile. Played the same harmless part. But from that moment on, every conversation was rehearsed, every word measured. And quietly, Alex began investigating her in return. This was no longer just about strategy. It was espionage. And the game had truly begun. 5 Law 6, Court Attention at All Costs expanded version. Alex knew the power of silence, but they also knew that in today's world, invisibility could kill you. So, with a calculated risk, Alex stepped into the spotlight. It started small, a sharp LinkedIn post, an insightful comment on a viral thread, a guest appearance on a niche business podcast. Then a feature in an industry newsletter. Slowly, the digital ripples grew into waves. Alex's new personal brand was magnetic, authentic but mysterious, brilliant but approachable. Investors reached out, startup founders asked for advice. The media began to call. Alex was no longer the quiet exile, they were the rising phoenix of the business world. For the first time in years, Alex felt alive. But where light shines brightest, shadows lurk. Behind the scenes, old enemies stirred. Among them was Jared, a former ally turned jealous rival who had watched Alex's fall with a bitter grin. Jared knew Alex's darkest secrets, the struggles, the moments of doubt, the private messages meant only for trusted confidants. One late evening, as Alex scrolled through their phone, the world shattered. Screens everywhere exploded with headlines, "Inside the Fall of Alex Carter, Private Messages Reveal Ambitions and Anxieties." Is Alex the opportunist or the victim, the truth behind the viral star? Screenshots leaked by Jared, once a friend, now a saboteur, painted Alex as manipulative, calculating, and desperate for fame. The tone was ruthless. The timing, impeccable. The public image Alex had carefully built crumbled overnight. Investors froze. Sponsors withdrew. Friends distanced themselves. Alex watched the empire they'd begun to build crumble like dry sand. But instead of retreating, Alex steeled themselves. This was a lesson learned and a warning shot fired. To survive in the game of power, attention must be courted, yes, but it must also be controlled. 6. The Mask Slips expanded version. After the public storm, Alex vanished not just physically but from the digital world altogether. Social media accounts deleted, phones switched off, and no public appearances scheduled. It was the ultimate disappearing act. But disappearance, Alex knew, wasn't weakness. It was strategy. In the quiet solitude of a rented loft far from the city's prying eyes, Alex began weaving a new web, a network of unseen allies, discreet whispers in exclusive clubs, encrypted messages exchanged in shadowy corners. The pieces fell into place slowly. Old contacts resurfaced, some loyal, others curious, each one a thread in a tapestry of influence. Lawyers, hackers, journalists, and forgotten power brokers, they all answered Alex's call. Yet amid this gathering storm of power, one figure emerged from the fog with a presence impossible to ignore. Mr. Caldwell. The mentor who had vanished without a trace, the man who left the book that changed everything. He appeared suddenly in Alex's life again, like a ghost from the past, visiting in the dead of night, his eyes sharp with unspoken knowledge. But he came with a warning and a demand. The book, Caldwell said quietly, is never meant to be held forever. It's a cycle. I want it back. Alex felt a cold thrill. The stakes had just risen. This wasn't just about surviving the game anymore. It was about who controlled the rules. And the mask Alex had carefully crafted was beginning to crack. 7 Law 33, Discover Each Man's Thumbscrew expanded version. With the book back in hand and a growing network at their command, Alex moved beyond mere survival. Now, the goal was transformation, turning enemies into allies, weakness into leverage. Power was no longer about raw force but about knowing what made people tick and, more importantly, what made them break. Alex began collecting secrets like currency, whispered confessions over drinks, digital breadcrumbs left carelessly behind, subtle reactions caught in fleeting glances. Every vulnerability was a potential lever, every desire a button waiting to be pressed. At first, it was small, a misstep here, a carefully placed rumor there. Rivals found themselves walking a tightrope of doubt and paranoia. One by one, Alex flipped the board. But the most devastating revelation was yet to come. In a private meeting, Alex's most loyal supporter, Maya, confessed a secret that shattered the fragile trust between them. She was being blackmailed by none other than Donovan Rourke. The rival CEO had something on her, something so damaging that Maya was forced to walk a perilous line, feeding Alex's plans while secretly protecting Rourke's interests. Alex's heart sank. Was loyalty ever real, or was it just another pawn on the board now? Every move had to be more calculated, every alliance more guarded. Because in the game of power, the sharpest weapon was knowing exactly where to apply pressure and who could snap when it mattered most. 8 Law 43, Work on the hearts and minds of others expanded version. Alex knew the bitter truth: raw power alone couldn't secure victory. To survive, they had to win hearts and minds, to soften the battlefield with empathy and illusion. So, with meticulous care, Alex staged a public redemption, a carefully crafted narrative of humility and hope. They launched the New Dawn Initiative, a charity aimed at supporting underserved communities and promoting ethical business practices. Press releases flooded media outlets. Philanthropic endorsements poured in. Social media buzzed with praise. For the first time in years, Alex seemed more than a strategist or a schemer. They appeared human, relatable, even inspiring. Crowds rallied. Critics paused. The world started to see Alex not as a threat, but as a leader. But the deeper truth lurked beneath the surface. Behind closed doors, the charity was a facade, a front to neutralize enemies, launder influence, and tighten Alex's grip on power. And just when it seemed the plan was flawless, the knife twisted. The exposure came not from a rival or a whistleblower, but from Evelyn, the person Alex had trusted most. Evelyn, the longtime confidant and right hand, the one who knew the charity's secrets inside and out. In a brutal public reveal, Evelyn accused Alex of deceit and manipulation. Evidence leaked: financial mismanagement, staged events, and covert meetings with dubious figures. The New Dawn Initiative crumbled overnight. Betrayal sliced deeper than any rival's attack. Alex stood on the ruins of their carefully constructed redemption, realizing that in the ruthless game of power, even those closest can become the deadliest enemies. 9 The Reckoning expanded version. The ruins of the New Dawn Initiative still smoldered in the headlines. Trust had evaporated like mist under harsh sunlight. Allies had become shadows, love, a distant memory. Alex stood alone in the dim light of their penthouse, the city's heartbeat faint beneath the silence. Victory felt hollow, a throne built on fractured glass. Every law wielded, every calculated move, had come with a price far steeper than Alex had imagined. The price wasn't money or reputation alone, it was something more personal. Something raw. Trust shattered. Friendships fractured. Love turned cold. And innocence, the naive hope of playing fair and winning, was lost forever. The weight pressed heavier each day. In this solitude, the phone rang. The voice on the other end was calm, familiar. "Mr. Caldwell. I never told you what the book was really about," he said. Alex listened, breath caught. "It wasn't about gaining power," Caldwell explained quietly. "It was about surviving it. Power," he said, "was a storm that could destroy or protect, depending on how you navigated its fury. You've learned the laws, yes. But now, you must learn when to break them." The lesson wasn't just in winning, it was in living through the war. As the line went dead, Alex was left with a chilling clarity: the game was never about the prize. it was about the scars you carry and the strength you find beneath them. 10. The final play expanded version. Cornered on all sides, with enemies closing in and allies slipping away, Alex knew there was only one move left: the ultimate gambit. Using every law they had mastered, every lesson burned into their soul, Alex crafted a trap so intricate it was invisible until it snapped shut. First, they baited Donovan Rourke with a fabricated scandal, a whisper here, a forged document there, just enough to ignite suspicion but not enough to be disproven. Then, using Maya's blackmail as leverage, Alex turned Donovan's own board members against him, planting seeds of doubt that grew into a rebellion. Publicly, Alex appeared to bow out, retreating once again into the shadows. But behind the curtain, the rival CEO's empire crumbled spectacularly, piece by piece. Lawsuits, defections, media exposés, all orchestrated with the cold precision of a chess grandmaster. When the dust settled, Donovan was a fallen titan, stripped of power and dignity. Alex emerged victorious, but at a cost. The victory was a Pyrrhic one. Friends were gone, trust was broken beyond repair, and the price of playing the game had left Alex isolated. As the city buzzed with rumors of Alex's final triumph, a new figure entered the quiet office left behind the fresh-faced intern. On their desk lay a familiar, worn book, The 48 Laws of Power. Beneath it, a note in the same handwriting Alex had once read: "You've just been chosen." The cycle was beginning again. And the game was far from over.